Okay, hello, and welcome back to Dearest Father Ministry. My name is Yarima. I am your scripture strategist, and I have been going for a while, mainly because I was on a 90-day fast, and during that fast, it was 18 hours, water only, and I also had no social media. So I have been like real locked in right now. So I haven't been around, but your girl is back and I came to share a word. So I'm just gonna get into it. I started this before my fast, but basically there was something that I wanted to share with you guys, a devotional book that I created, and I know these words are encouraging to people. The reason why I chose this one is because earlier this week I was on a trip to Dallas for a revival, and I also hosted some of my own small events out there. And in one of the events, somebody asked a question pertaining to this topic. So I knew that for me to come back, the first thing that I wanted to do was address this one. So the name of today's message, and if you know, I always say I don't want to try to be perfect and memorize everything. Yo, I'm reading from my book that I created, an old book. This is an old book. It's a devotional called Unshakable because God has crowned me with confidence. So I'm going to read from God Gives Capacity. So mind me if I'm not looking at the camera, I'm looking at what I'm reading. God gives capacity. You don't control your capacity, God does. If it were up to us and our limited thought process, we would always claim lack. I don't use the word limited as a pun or to be catchy. It's honest, it's biblical. We will never be able to think the way God does, and we shouldn't be leaning on our own understanding. His ways are above our ways, His thoughts above our thoughts. So, this is your invitation to recognize that you have no authority on your capacity. None. No authority on your capacity. When it comes to the assignment that God placed on your heart, sorry for my camera. When it comes to the assignment that God placed in your heart, if it were up to us, we would never have enough money, even though He supplies all of our needs. That's Philippians 4:19. If we have enough money, we would never have enough time, even though He makes everything beautiful in His time. That's Ecclesiastes 3:11. If we have enough time, we don't have enough energy, even though He gives rest to the weary. That's Matthew 11:28. But that's our problem. We think we control our capacity. We forget to go to God for Him to stretch us. I was going for a while because God was stretching me. The 90-day fast, I was able to host some amazing experiences in September. We did the Stillness in September experience where we spent 30 days just honoring His presence with our stillness, listening to His voice. In October, we had the Discernment Boot Camp. The Discernment Boot Camp was all about sitting in His presence but understanding His voice. Father, what does your voice sound like? What does the sound of the enemy? What is the sound of my flesh? So we did a discernment experience in November. October. In November, we did a faith and fertility experience for anybody who has a challenging fertility journey, a unique fertility journey. It's a place for us to heal, be honest, be open, be vulnerable. So I've been doing all these different experiences. In doing these experiences, God has led me to create all these different resources and just things that He wants me to do. In the midst of doing that and mentoring people and helping people and creating whatever God has called me to create, scripture jars, promoting my book, doing my podcast, all the things that God has called me to do. In the midst of doing all that, um, sorry, in the midst of all of that, I still had to travel quite a bit. Mind my hand. I don't know why. Maybe tomorrow I'll do this better with like a tripod. But like I said, I haven't been on socials in 90 days. And I just said, you know what, Father, I heard you say go and read to them. So go read to them. But I've traveled internationally. I've traveled locally. I've dealt with children with the flu. I've done a lot, right? And I get to do it with a smile on my face. Why? Because God gives the capacity. If He called you to it, He will give you the capacity to handle it. I learned so much about myself when I gave God my yes. I learned that I'm capable. I learned that I'm impactful. And I learned that I can rise to any and every occasion. So the real question is that what will you learn about yourself when you give God the capacity? When you give God your capacity, when your capacity is in God's hands, what will you learn about yourself? All right, so I'm going to submit to you guys the scripture of the day to follow this. This is Mark 4:30 to 32. The NLT translation says, Jesus said, "How can I describe the kingdom of heaven? What story should I use to illustrate it? It is like a mustard seed planted in the ground. It is the smallest of all seeds, but it becomes the largest of all garden plants. It grows long branches, and birds can make its nest in its shade." God will grow you and give you the capacity for your assignment. Hear that. Understand that. God will grow you and give you the capacity for your assignment. Okay, so some quick announcements. First announcement is next week we start the 2026 Goal Setting with God experience. This is the win before you begin. It is a 5-day intensive. You'll have 10 hours worth of training, really just helping you to understand how to get in His presence and set goals with God instead of setting meaningless resolutions. I'll leave the link in the description if you guys want to check that out. Another thing, I just came home from Dallas yesterday, honestly. And I had an experience on the plane that I'm not going to share right now. And if you're on my mailing list and you already know the experience I'm talking about. But I had an experience on the plane yesterday that really had me thinking about something today, which was my dad's not coming home for the holidays. Now, my dad has been gone for 10 years this year, made 10 years since my father has been gone. And my dad was not very big on holidays. He was not very big on Christmas. He would call a lot of these holidays pagan holidays. So, like, in the past, not having my dad for the holidays never really seemed like a big deal. But after the experience I had on the plane yesterday, I was just kind of in my bag and my feelings thinking about my father. Also, if you're on my mailing list and you know that I've been thinking about my father a lot lately, I talked recently about a conversation that I had with my father-in-law that really showed me how much I miss my daddy. Anyway, my father's not coming home for the holidays, but I want to do something to honor him. My sister found an old email that he sent to her, not long before he passed away. And it was called Bible Fundamentals. And he sent it this email, and I read it, and it inspired me to do something special for him. Now, I'm not going to talk about what it is. We'll get there. I'll just tell you that it's coming December 15th to the 19th. So make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure you're locked in. Make sure you're showing up every day, because I will be here for the next couple of days talking to you guys. Just get ready. I'm going to do something real nice. I'm going to do something real special in honor of my dad. And it's going to show you more about who I am. So anyway, mark your calendars for that. Remember, God gives capacity. And if you want to join us for the Win Before You Begin 2026 Goal Setting with God experience, your tickets, your registration is open for the next couple of days. And I hope to be able to lead you through a great experience with God. All right, you guys, have a beautiful, wonderful, amazing day.